According to Bob Nightingale, Jose Abreu going to the Houston Astros. This came down a little before 11 a.m., I want to say. And I was surprised that it happened this soon. It did seem like the Padres and the Astros were going to be the two main suitors for Jose Abreu, but Kent Rosenthal reported this morning, maybe it was last night, but I saw it this morning in The Athletic that Abreu might be intrigued by going to one of the two Florida teams, the Rays or the Marlins. But instead, he signs today with the Astros. And maybe the thing that, made him sign was the Astros gave him a 3-year deal. This whole time we were discussing 2-year deals, having that be a possibility. But for a team to give him 3, that probably is what put it over the edge and, put it over the goal line, if that makes sense. That's what made it a deal for Abreu, because I don't think he was going to find another team that would give him 3 years. I think the Padres probably offered him 2 years, but 3, I don't think the Padres were willing to do that. And I think the Astros, with Jim Crane running it, right, because he got rid of James Click, he is like the Jerry Jones of Major League Baseball. So with him running the whole thing, he's making the decision, right? Like, he doesn't care what anyone says. He's giving Abreu a 3-year deal. Where with the Padres, they don't have a Jerry Jones thing going. It's Seidler. It's Preller's show, but then he collaborates with Seidler, talks with him and Grupner and stuff like that. But Seidler pretty much lets Preller run the show. That's not what happens with Houston. Like Jim Crane is the owner and the GM. That's what it seems like. With the Padres, Preller probably was telling Seidler, I think it's smart to give him 2 years, but I wouldn't go 3. Jim Crane's probably like, well, maybe they started at 2, but he does not care. Like, he probably wanted Abreu no matter what. And so he got his guy. So I get, that's good news for Astros fans. It's disappointing that Jose Abreu is not on the Padres. He was one of my dream offseason targets. If I could have a dream offseason, it would have been Abreu. I think Senga would have been in there. I'm a big Mitch Haniger fan. Or like him coming to the Padres. So we'll see if those happen. But Abreu is not happening. Where do the Padres go from here? Now that Abreu is not on the Padres, not coming to San Diego. I mean, they could go the trade route, right? Seth Brown is with Oakland. He's on a cheap contract, but they'd have to give up something because it's a trade, obviously. And I'm sure that there would be other suitors for Seth Brown. I think he hit 25 home runs last year in Oakland. There's other first base guys out there, but I would think that they try to pivot to bring back Bell or bring back Drury, and maybe they go a platoon route, and Mancini's a righty, so maybe they go Bell, Mancini. I think it just depends on what the market is for Bell. Like, I'd be fine now that they don't have Jose Abreu as an option. I'd be fine bringing back Brandon Drury and have him platoon, bring in a lefty bat. I don't know if it's a Dom Smith or something like that. But like Abreu, he was like the big first baseman because Anthony Rizzo was already grabbed by the Yankees, obviously. He's returning back to New York. Those were the two big guys. Now, if you look at the first base market, I mean, Josh Bell's kind of like the big name there. Brandon Belt's out there. Drury, obviously. Myers, some teams might list him as a first baseman. But like those were the big names. Trey Mancini is out there, like I just mentioned. But like Abreu was the clear guy, right? So now it's kind of like, all right, I'm fine if the Padres bring back Drury or Bell. Now, with the projections that we're seeing Josh Bell get 3 years, $40 million, something like that. I don't know if I would give him $40 million for 3 years. Like, I'd just go bring Drury back. I thought he played pretty good defensive first base. I don't know what Will is going to command. But if you can focus on like the power bat in the outfield or something like that, and bring in someone with some pop there. Maybe they prioritize that now over a first base power option because there's just not a lot of first base, uh, power options out there remaining, right? Like I'd like to have Mancini, but he might be more of like a DH option, to be honest. I'm gonna try to look up the free agents for first base, the remaining free agents. Sorry, I'm doing this right on the fly right now. Okay, so first base, we already talked about Rizzo. We already hit on him. Already hit on Jose Abreu. Um, my internet's not loading. So, okay, Yuli Gurriel's obviously out there, right? Because now the Astros are going with Abreu, so you would think he would sign with someone else. But he's 39 already. Carlos Santana already signed with the Pirates. Miguel Sano has really fallen off. Brandon Belt is 35. I would think he'd go back to the Giants. I just don't see him going somewhere else. Jesus Aguilar is out there, but he's not really like an everyday, definitely not first baseman for me, I don't think. So like Dom Smith and Brandon Drury, you got a righty in Drury, a lefty in Dom Smith. Like that is kind of appealing to me right now. But yeah, it's just the first base options just aren't great now. With the Abreu and Rizzo off the board, it's pretty much Josh Bell. Like he's the big guy. And so I think teams that don't have a first baseman, they might be willing to give him 3 years. I don't know if the Padres want to do that. We'll see.